Hey guys, Byrne here. Just wanted to have a quick shout out to our patrons Frank Olechnowitz, Sarah Talk Podcast, Cheese Dick Mick Douche Nozzle, Esquire, Camuel Winance, and Craig Porter. We really appreciate your help. If you'd like to get a shout out as well, you can get on our Patreon list at patreon.com/Sci-gasm podcast or become a Podbean patron by going to patron.podbean.com/Sci-gasm podcast. For only $1 to $2 a week, you can receive special benefits, including membership in our secret Facebook group. Check it out. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the episode. Dude, maybe you should stop doing that. You'll send yourself blind.
Firstly, I'm over here.
Oh.
Secondly, I'm making pasta. Thirdly, that was an old wives' tale your grandma used to tell you, so you'd leave your room every once in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, maybe we should do an episode on old wives' tales.
Sure. Let's get to it.
All right, I'll just go do some research.
Idiot. www.por.
How hard this was to research and try and sound genuinely like I was doing work? Hey man, how'd your research go?
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Byrne. How'd your research go?
Yeah, I got a few things down. I got a few old wives' tales. How was your pasta?
It was nice.
You got any left?
No.
Huh. All right then. Well, maybe we'll just get into the research then.
I think that'd be a great idea.
I don't enjoy pasta or anything.
All right, what'd you look up first?
One of the ones I looked up first is if you shave, will it come back thicker? Your hair, we're talking, not just shaving some other things. Coming back thicker. Hair, we're talking hair.
I don't know what else you'd shave that would come back thicker if that wasn't hair.
A monkey.
Monkey's hair?
Yeah, I don't know. No, it doesn't. Same apparently with waxing.
Okay.
Waxing, none of your hair's going to go back
Yeah,
thicker.
because I was under the impression, well, not the impression, but I heard the rumor that I grew up thinking this. If you shave your legs, not that I shave my legs growing up. If you shave your legs, it grows back thicker. If you wax, it doesn't grow back thicker.
Oh, okay, maybe it just takes longer to grow back when you wax or something.
Yeah, I think as well, isn't one of the misconceptions the fact that like the hair actually has to bust through the skin? Like, so the actual growth, where the hair's alive.
It could do. I've had my fair share of ingrowns. They're not pleasant.
Yeah.
I actually got an ingrown on my face once, and when I managed to dig my way into it, I pulled it out, and it looked like a little pig's tail. It was all curly.
Same things happened to me with my beard.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit spooky. It was kind of thick as well, but I don't know. Maybe it was just because it was covered in pus.
Oh.
Anyway, let's stick to shaving.
Yeah, let's stick to shaving.
So shaving, it doesn't actually grow back thicker. It has the appearance of being thicker, and there's a couple of reasons for that.
Okay, so what you're saying is, that is completely wrong. How
No.
people say if you shave your legs, the hair will grow back thicker, so don't shave your legs.
Yeah, no, that's not true. That's why they say you should go and wax it or get laser. I think laser does actually work. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I've never had laser either.
No,
but
neither have I.
So the idea where it comes back thicker is a couple of things. Firstly, if you shave it, instead of like if you look at a hair under a microscope, it's on a nice tapered end.
Yeah.
So
like
if you shave
sperm tail.
like a little sperm tail
Yeah.
or a poo. Nice tapered end. Okay, but if you shave it, you're obviously cutting it on an angle, so it hasn't got the nice tapered end. So the end of it is actually
All I can
thicker.
think about now is you cutting shit, slicing shit. It's got those little tapered ends and you cut the end off. And
Now, next time I eat a chocolate bar, I'm going to use a knife and fork just so it ruins it for
they
you.
already did that on Seinfeld.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to sink it in. Weirdos. But yeah, the reason it looks thicker is because when you cut it, you get rid of that tapered end, and the end of it looks thicker, so you notice it more. So it looks like there's more hair there, and because it's shorter as well, it gives that appearance of thickness.
Yeah.
The other thing is, have you ever seen a hair under the microscope?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so it's got the big fat follicle on the bottom.
Yep.
So the base of the hair is actually thicker than the top, but as it grows out, it gets thinner. So it won't actually make your hair thicker, but when you cut it, it looks thicker because you've cut the tapered end off, and it's thicker down the base where you've made the cut as well.
Okay.
So that's where that rumour, they reckon, came from.
So understandable as well. And if you think about it, I guess another thing would be something like I guess another thing you would look at would be, I guess a common misconception, I can see where people would have it, would be if someone's shaving, and say they're shaving when they're younger in their early adolescent years, and then all of a sudden they start shaving, they see that there's hair growing back, or it's growing thicker and thicker and thicker. They might kind of think, well, hang on, I started shaving, and then all of a sudden this hair is growing back thicker and thicker and thicker.
Yep.
Even though it's got to do more with hormones.
Yep, that's very true as well. So that's a couple of weird angles that this idea is coming, that hair grows back thicker. So rest assured, gentlemen, ladies, if you're trying to get a bit more aerodynamic in whatever your pursuits may be, your hair's not going to grow back thicker. Shave on, people. Shave on.
Shave on. Shave on.
Plus, shaving hurts less than plucking as well, you know?
Yeah, I don't really pluck many hairs.
No?
Oh, I don't know. If I can always face
Your wife's never given you a bit of a pluck?
Actually, I lie. Yes, she has.
Yeah.
Give me the old plucker.
A little bit in the middle of the eyebrows or something like that?
Nothing up the plucker.
Nothing up the plucker? Not yet. Not quite in that stage of the relationship. It's all right, give it time. Maybe when you've been married 40 years, you need something to spice it up.
I don't think our American audience is going to know what up the plucker is.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they can insinuate.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Give it a couple of years. All right. My one I came across in my research whilst having the pasta, cracking knuckles.
I do that quite often. I love a good knuckle crack.
Listeners, beware. Yeah. Satisfying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Silly cracking.
Putting our fingers against our face going, oh.
Cracking it. Yeah, luckily we're not filming this episode.
So
I love a good back crack as well.
Yeah, nice back stretch.
Yeah.
I like pointing your toes out in the morning after you've been asleep for ages. You go, and then your ankles, I know my ankles go.
Yeah, you feel a little bit taller all of a sudden.
A bit taller, yeah. And you need as much help as you can get,
yeah, that's
too.
right. I crack as many bones as I can.
Yeah. We've actually got one of those little torture chamber things.
Just keep pulling, babe. I need this rack to stretch me out.
Right up the plucker. Okay, so cracking knuckles. All right. So in 2015, a group of researchers from Canada, as our ex-Prime Minister called it at one point, Canada, used MRI. So for those people who don't know what an MRI machine is, it's a magnetic resonance imaging machine. So what they do is it really produces a magnetic field that aligns the hydrogen bonds in your body anyway. So it's a really good way of using really strong magnetic fields and RF pulses, so radio frequency pulses, to look inside your body.
Yep.
And what they did is they actually investigated the mechanism of knuckle cracking. So they actually found that knuckle cracking occurs as a result of the formation of space in the synovial fluid in the form of bubbles rather than the collapse of the bubbles.
Yeah, because I thought it was bubbles popping, and that's what that sound was.
Apparently in 2015, this is what these researchers found. It's actually the fluid,
going into the space.
Yeah, moving, into the space.
It's like a tendons clicking more than a bubbles popping thing.
Well, it's not moving in the space. It's the formation of the space that's actually causes the actual,
That kind of makes sense, I guess, because my joints certainly feel more liberated after a good crack.
Yeah.
I feel a bit looser. Yeah.
Well, yep. I'll draw another
plucker joke in
there. But anyway, so there has been some formal research in the topic as well, as far even in the 1990s. Right. It found cracking knuckles over a long period of time was associated with swelling and reduced grip strength in some people. However, the authors actually found that there was no difference in the arthritis of the hands of people who were habitually cracking their knuckles and those who weren't.
Oh, that's cool. I've always had a little bit of a worry about it. I remember getting told that it didn't cause arthritis from a study from some dude back in the day who cracked his knuckles on his right hand for 60 years, but not in his left, and he didn't develop arthritis in his right hand.
There was also a study, 2011 study, that looked at radiographs of people aged 50 to 89 years, according to the frequency of their knuckle cracking behavior. Again, the prevalence of osteoarthritis of the hands was similar between people who cracked their knuckles and those who didn't crack their knuckles. Yeah, I really like this from one of the authors. It was Robert L. Sweezy and his brother Stuart E. Sweezy. Yeah.
Sweezy brothers.
The Sweezy brothers. Oh, the Sweezy brothers. Sweezy. Anyway,
Sweezy sounds funny.
so this is an actual quote from their paper. This is about the consequences of a habitual knuckle cracking. The chief morbid consequence of knuckle cracking would appear to be its annoying effect on the observer.
I don't really find it that irritating.
Yeah, I did. Were you told by your parents, don't crack your knuckles?
I was when I was younger. I remember starting cracking my knuckles when I was quite young, and they said, don't do that, that'll cause... Don't know if it was arthritis. I think it was just some general problems. I don't know if arthritis would have made sense then.
Yeah.
But I continued to do it because it felt good.
That's just kind of weird, man. At that age, it's like, oh, yeah. Most kids were looking up stuff, and you were just in the room cracking your knuckles.
Yeah. What are you doing there? Nothing.
Nothing. Leave me alone. Yeah. But I guess it isn't to be confused with kind of like wear and tear on your joints as well. I think that's an important point. Is when you've got the ligaments and the tendons and all the joints and things like that, and they're all mucking up. That's when
you loosen them.
Yeah, that wear and tear can cause arthritis and things like that. So it's not saying cracking your knuckles doesn't cause arthritis in your hands. It's not been shown to. But also remember as well, if you're running every day playing sports, and you are more likely to get arthritis in certain joints.
Whatever joints you've been using.
Yeah, because that's got to do with also wear and tear. You've also got other types of arthritis, like genetic, like rheumatoid, things like that are obviously genetic. So
okay.
My mother has it. It's pretty crazy stuff, man.
It kind of sucks, doesn't it? Arthritis. My uncle has it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy stuff. The arthritis. It's really debilitating. It's crazy that your immune system responds that way.
Yeah.
And I just I find it really kind of really
when
strange.
Your own body gangs up against you almost.
Yeah, it's your body like fighting against you. Like it's like hay fever.
Yeah.
I get bad. I used to get bad hay fever.
Yeah, I get bad hay fever, but I wouldn't liken my hay fever to arthritis. It's kind of similar in one respect.
I mean, it's your immune system. Trust me, I'd rather have hay fever than arthritis. But
that's right.
It's funny how your immune system's kind of like attacking. It's like you're attacking the wrong thing. You don't need to attack that.
Leave me alone, you idiot.
Yeah. Exactly what I've been saying to you for years now on the podcast. Just leave me alone, Byrne. I'm over making podcasts. Yeah. Just leave me alone.
You need me. Yeah.
You need me more than I need you. All right, your point. What was yours, mate?
Next one I thought was an interesting one, and I like this one because it's got a little bit of an Australian feel to it, was that stress causes stomach ulcers.
Okay. So the old wives' tale, I'm assuming, is that the more stressed you are, the more likely you are to get stomach ulcers.
Stress increases your chance of stomach ulcers, but there isn't really any data out there that suggests stress is in any way correlated to stomach ulcers.
It's funny how these old wives' tales just catch on. They just hang around. They don't leave.
Well, the origin of this one might be along the lines of something like if you increase your stress levels, it's more likely that your immune system isn't going to be as strong, so you're more susceptible to the things that actually cause stomach ulcers. So maybe there's something about it. So if you're stressed, you may be more likely to get a cold as well, but you wouldn't say stress causes colds, would you?
No, not at all. It weakens your immune system.
Yeah, that's right. But the reason I like this is because I think we've spoken about this before. The Helicobacter pylori bacterium.
Yes, I believe we have spoken about this in a previous episode.
Yeah, it's a great episode. All of our episodes are great, let's be honest.
You can't remember it. Yeah. You're like, it's a great episode. Let's be honest, all of them are just
they're all fantastic.
Amazing.
Make sure you check them out. If you haven't binge listened, get on that now and share the shit out of them. Thanks, people.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'd really appreciate that.
But no, there was an Australian doctor who discovered this bacteria when he was looking at samples of stomach ulcers, and the bacteria happened to be present in all the samples he was looking at, or at least in 90% or something, most of the samples he was looking at. So he made the suggestion that maybe this is the cause of stomach ulcers. It's not to do with stress. And long story short, he ended up getting a Nobel Prize for discovering this bacteria was the cause of stomach ulcers.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was pretty good. So I've got some data here from...
but tell them what he did.
He drank the bacterium himself.
Crazy bastard.
There has been a few. Alexander Fleming, I think it was, when he won the Nobel Prize. Or was it Howard Florey? One of the guys for penicillin took bacteria and then got rid of it with penicillin as well to prove its efficacy. There's been a few people that have given themselves a disease to prove that they could cure it or that it was the cause.
Freud just did a whole bunch of coke.
Yeah, that's right. Like his mother was dead.
Oh,
who knows what he would have done?
Who knows what he would have done on a coke binge?
But this bacteria is present in about 60% of stomach ulcers and about 90% of duodenal ulcers. So they're the ones.
Duodenal ulcers.
So do you have a thing called a duodenum? in your stomach, which is like a separate
Yes.
section, and that's
Yes. Is it duodenum or is it duodenum?
I don't know. Who cares?
Okay.
Duodenum.
Duodenum.
Whatever it is, whatever you'd prefer, as long as you spell it right when you write it down. I don't think it matters too much when you're pronouncing stuff. There's a lot of words in biology which get pronounced different ways in different countries. But
Like biology.
biology,
Biology. Biology.
physics and physics,
Physics.
chemistry, geology. And, but this bacteria, even though it's present in most cases, might not be the only cause. Certain medications can also lead to stomach ulcers. So if you take a whole lot of aspirin or other anti-inflammatories, there's another one called... let me
So,
go this.
lead to or make you more susceptible to?
They'll make you more susceptible. So
Okay.
the anti-inflammatories sort of are thought to cause around 2/5 of stomach ulcers. So they're the trigger that leads to an
Wow,
increased chance of
okay.
infection. And stomach cancer can also generally pop up as an ulcer as well. That'll cause an ulcer too, which kind of makes sense as well.
Yeah, that does.
Because an ulcer really, at the end of the day, is just an irritation from stomach acids that manage to get through the mucus lining of your stomach and get into the tissue on the outside.
Have you ever had an endoscope?
I've never had an endoscope.
No, I haven't either, but they
Oh,
look...
you sounded like you had. I was like, oh, this is something I didn't know. Our friendship just went to a whole new level.
I was really hoping you had. Yeah.
No, I've never
They
had
look
an
very
endoscope.
uncomfortable. They look very
They would.
uncomfortable.
I don't know. Do they go a general or are you awake or?
You can be awake. Yeah, you can be awake.
Can be awake?
Yeah,
Do
they
you
can
get to watch
also.
it?
They can also go up the. Say it. Also go up the
Anus?
anus, but what's
The
the,
plucker?
name? The plucker.
Plucker.
Also go up the plucker
I'm
as well.
detecting a theme in here.
Yeah.
Here's some
go
interesting
up
stuff
your
about
arse.
this. Oh, I wonder how they get and then find the stomach ulcers. They go down the throat. But here's an interesting stat, I thought.
it's like, doctor, why is this going up my anus? Oh, look, it's just the way we do things. Yeah, but it's in my esophagus. Yeah, look, we're just gonna have to pass through the large and the small intestine.
Yeah.
We'll work our way up there.
It's all right. We're going the long way. Just
We're
relax.
going the long way. Just relax. Take
Read
a
this
deep
book.
breath.
Yeah. Oh dear. All right.
yeah.
Anyway, as I was, this particular bacteria. This is one thing I thought was interesting. People over 40, so we got a few years ahead of us yet. Wait, but people over 40, this particular bacteria is thought to infect about 1 in 3 people over 40. This is in Australia. Okay. So one in three people. 1 in 3 people have this bacteria, but it's when the bacteria grows to certain levels, so it gets enough
so
of them.
That
'Cause
threshold.
Remember
yeah.
how bacteria don't produce this disease? It's the toxins they produce that cause the effect. So too
Yeah.
much bacteria, too many toxins and
Isn't
waste
there a
produced
tipping
by it.
point as well? There's a tipping point like around 1 million microbes. Not in all cases, but generally speaking, there's a kind of like a tipping point around the 1 million mark.
Yeah, I think so.
And after that point, it's the microbe or whatever the disease can start kick it off pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's it. Once we get enough of this bacteria in our stomach, it causes problem. Like E. coli. E. coli lives in our colon, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine, but once it gets outside our colon, it causes all
stomach.
kinds of havoc. Yeah.
Wash your hands, you grubby bastards.
That's right.
Well, it's true.
Get your finger out of your plucker.
Get your finger out of your plucker and wash your hands.
They reckon the interesting thing about this bacteria is they reckon it actually plays a role in developing stomach cancer too. So this is actually a pretty recent discovery,
Wow, okay.
relatively recently discovered bacteria that does a lot of issues with health around the world. So great little discovery there. They deserve that Nobel Prize.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That's yeah. It's odd how how scientists are like, I am that fucking confident with my finding, I'm gonna eat it.
I'm gonna eat it, and I'm gonna get stomach ulcers myself.
I'm gonna fucking eat it, and I will show you pricks. Ha! We'll see how's the last laugh.
Yeah. Oh god, I don't feel
But
so
I remember
good.
Newton sticking a probe in his eye and moving his eye around the back to see how the eye worked. There's all stories of stuff like that. It's crazy.
That's
shit.
some commitment to science, isn't it?
That is some commitment, and I just can't figure out why he never had a girlfriend or never had sex. I thought the girls would love that. The socially awkward guy who enjoys sticking things into his eye.
Yeah, and talking about gravity and the movement of the heavens.
But my wives' tale, the second one I looked up, was actually I've got a couple. This is the second last one anyway. Fatty foods. Fatty foods
delicious.
are delicious and they cause acne. Now,
really?
No, they don't.
That's a wives' tale.
That's a wives' tale. So
wow, okay.
fatty foods causing acne. Now,
I'm going to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Well, it's you're not out of the woods yet, because fatty foods can obviously cause problems with cholesterol and things like that. So
Your heart.
It can cause problem. What's that organ again called? The heart. I think it's how do you spell that? At
least you're not getting pimples.
At least you're not getting pimples, guys. You'll be dead by your 40. So fatty foods cause acne. Now, I was looking at the Yale Scientific website.
Mm-hmm.
So the biological basis of acne boils down to the hyperactivity of the sebaceous glands. So they're microscopic glands that secrete an oily, lubricating substance called the sebum. Yeah, you didn't know where I was going with that one, did you?
No, it sounds dirty all the way through.
It does,
but
doesn't it? It's not. No, it's not. So overproduction of sebum, I'm going to call it sebum. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Okay.
The language of science.
The biological basis of acne boils down to the hyperactivity of the sebaceous glands, microscopic glands that secrete an oily, lubricating substance called sebum.
Sounds like a German asking where you want me to put it.
That's awesome. So, overproduction of sebum triggered by hormonal fluctuations. So that's why people can get acne in their teenage years, because
the hormones are all crazy.
And it's this substance, this lubricating sebum,
Sebum
that actually triggers. So it triggers the release of this substance, which clogs pores with bacteria, dead skin cells, and it triggers spots of inflammation that we know as acne.
Okay, so what is there a reason that these things get overactive? It's not to do with the fatty foods.
So there's some stipulation, that diet may affect hormones that generate acne, but little evidence supports this connection. So, dermatologist Valerie Trelau, why would you pick these fucking hard names to pronounce?
Because they're the ones who did the research.
Yeah, I know. Just going to show you that, there's a lot of people who don't speak English, I guess. That's
We do have a few difficult names come on this show, though, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We need to find a Dr. John Smith somewhere.
Whatever
he's into, that'll just make it easy.
There's probably like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
So she argues that bad fats exacerbate acne inflammation, while good fats such as omega-3 fatty acids reduce it. But according to an article published in Scientific American, this specific food connection has not been confirmed in controlled studies. Now, it's not just that. It's many other reputable organizations, including the Mayo Clinic, the American Academy of Dermatology, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and Livestrong, also say that there is insufficient evidence to prove that greasy food causes acne. Now, a 2010 study in the New York Times sums up the situation. Despite the popular belief that chocolate, nuts, and greasy foods cause acne, research does not confirm this idea.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of conflicting evidence out there, but the vast majority of evidence is saying it doesn't cause it. Now that's not saying we don't
really have good data that suggests that diet causes acne.
Well, that fatty foods effect.
Okay, so your diet can mess with your hormones and your balance of hormones, and that can lead to extra sebum.
I can't actually comment on that because that's not what I looked up, Byrne. That's not what we agreed we're going to talk about. So I didn't fucking look it up.
Clearly didn't spend enough time on it. What were you doing, Wade?
Nothing. Just don't look at my history. All right. So this is one known as. Have you heard of the sugar rush?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what happens?
Bunch of kids at a party eat too much sugar and they get hyperactive as shit for a few hours, then they hit a wall and crash and burn.
Yeah, that is an old wives' tale. The idea of a sugar rush is an old wives' tale.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's interesting. So the evidence for the link between sugar consumption and hyperactivity, okay, it's rather slim. And there was a meta study was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It was a meta analysis.
So that's a bunch of analyses chucked in together, had a look at a bunch of studies.
So what they did is, it was called The Effect of Sugar on Behavior or Cognition in Children. And what they did was they thought up a criteria and they had a look at all the available studies and they picked ones that they thought had the best methodology in order to help them determine whether there was a link between sugar and behavior. What they found was that there wasn't.
Okay.
So there wasn't a link. However, when...
So it's just shitty parents, not shitty diets.
It's usually the case, isn't it? So what they found was, one, it didn't have an effect on just your everyday kids with no kind of medical history. But even the ones with ADHD, it had no effect on them either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The interesting thing they found in the meta-analysis was that when they asked parents to rate their child, when they were informed that they did have sugar, they
rated
them...
their child for like hyperactivity or something. They're not just giving the
No,
child
whether
a
they
rating
like
to-
them or not.
Yeah.
It was
My kid's
rate how
too.
ugly. Yeah, rate how ugly that kid is over there. What they did was they got parents to rate. They asked the parents a survey, and then they kind of analysed. They got the parents to rate how their child was behaving. So if they thought they were hyped up, or ask them the type of questions. So they looked at a study that addressed that, and they found that when the parents were informed that their child did have sugar, even though they were given a placebo, so they were given kind of the aspartame, or how did you pronounce it before?
Aspartame.
Aspartame. Okay, so when they were given that, which is used in Diet Coke and things like that, they, even though they were told their child had sugar, which I don't know how you got that past the ethics board. Like, oh yeah, nah, we gave them this, and then give them something different. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, especially
to
with
see.
children, they're pretty cautious about testing on kids.
Yeah, but maybe they kind of said, look, we're going to give them this and that.
It'll only be acid. Yeah, I suppose if it's all right anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, so the scientists told them that they were given sugar, and the parents just naturally rated them high, even though they weren't given sugar. So the parents became a lot more observant of their child's behavior. So there was even like a cognitive bias there coming from the parents who are asked.
So it's a really well ingrained old wives' tale, then, isn't it?
Well, it is. Yeah, it is, because when you have a look at how long that myth has gone around for, and just even speaking to connecting with listeners on social media when they talk about it, like. I know I had a listener from France comment, and they said, I've never heard of that link between sugar and energy rush. But here it's very prevalent.
Yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
It's actually rather interesting. So the only thing is, it's not like sugar's, okay, excellent guys, let's load up little poor Jimmy here with a whole bunch of sugar like he's
Spleen
fucking
collapses.
Pablo Escobar.
Oh, type 2 diabetes. Sorry about that, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what they're saying, it's like a little disclaimer at the end. It's like having too much sugar, especially if it comes from like drinks and all that type of stuff, has been linked to excess weight gain and dental problems. So even if like the sugar doesn't equal hyperactivity, just ease up on it, guys. You don't need to give your kid that much sugar. It's crazy how much sugar's in stuff and just how oblivious you are.
It is. They just load it up with a lot of things, don't they? You were just having a popper before and we had to look how much sugar was in there. I did. Do you feel a little bit hyperactive right now, Wade?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to go into a diabetic coma, but that's about it. I do find it interesting just how these old wives' tales have stuck around so long. And they've just remained unquestioned by most people. It's like, oh, okay, well, no, that's what I've heard. So
I did cruise past a few that turned out to be true through our musings. Yeah. I can't remember specifically because we're looking at the ones that were false, but there were a few that says which ones were true, which ones were false. So
that's cool.
Maybe that's why they stick around, because some are indeed true. And they go, well, Mum told me and her mum told her, so it must be true.
It's kind of like, starts with R, rhymes with religion.
Yeah, it is a bit.
It is a bit, because and I find it interesting as well with stories that go on. The story always gets exaggerated. You give it 2,000 years, you'd get some, I caught a fish this big type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Jonah's whale.
Isn't it Jonah in the whale? And the
Yeah,
whale?
he got eaten by a whale. Probably got bitten by a fish.
And he lived in its stomach. So, and we hope you found that interesting, the listeners.
If you got any wives' tales that you know about,
Oh Wives' tales.
Old wives' tales, you know.
like
Don't just come onto our website and start ragging on your missus, please.
Sounds like a dirty website.
Yeah.
Wives. If you got any wives' tales or videos,
please PM us.
Once again, guys, thank you for all your support with the podcast. We absolutely love doing this, and it's so awesome that people want to listen to us talking about things you can put up your bum. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Send us an email, suggestions. Hate mail is more than welcome. Getting a lot of that lately, so we really appreciate that.
Nice one, Wade.
Thanks, man. All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.